I can see it.
Granted, they had the thumbnail up here instead, but you know.
If I put this up here, I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Okay. So the camera's right here.
Yeah, I see the camera.
Oh, you can? Okay. So
yeah, I can see the camera.
If you look at it, you'll be looking at the camera.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Also, your eyes look weird.
Yeah, they do. They're old, pal meow.
Oh.
Oh.
Anyways.
I already pushed play. It's recording.
You mean record?
Yeah.
Wow. What's the intro then? Since you pressed play.
Welcome to the new channel. We wanted to try something new. We've been wanting to do a little, I guess, reaction or podcast type format thing where we will be watching a video, maybe we'll push pause and do some commentary on it.
Commentaries about things that we have ideas on.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's the jump button.
Just something. Oh my gosh. Look at this cutie patootie. Anyways, since since we are first fleeters of Monster Hunter, we met through playing Monster Hunter. We thought we would do a live blind react to LegacyKilla's People Are Bored or Leaving.
97% of players are leaving.
Yeah, and
which seems like an exaggeration.
It feels hyperbolic. So. Shall we get started?
Yes.
I'm going to push the button. The button is being pushed.
Hunter Wilds is a Game of the Year contender. Maybe it was. It had one of the most successful launches, being Metacritic and user acclaim.
I wouldn't say successful launch.
That's like
an okay launch, but not successful.
Franchise. And to be fair, it is in a lot of ways.
Rise had a good
atmosphere.
As a matter of fact, give it a pause real quick. So I'm not sure if he's going to talk about it here, but I did end up hearing from another video a while back that they released the game in the state that it was in because they wanted to release it earlier and patch it later.
Well, yeah, that's typically
what
they have
such a terrible state.
I mean, you saw how bad Worlds was. Worlds was unplayable for a lot of people.
Well, I had to refund Worlds on my... Yeah, I had to refund it the first time because I couldn't play on my old PC.
Mm-hmm. Rise, though, oh gosh, built for a Switch.
That was built with Switch. But it still looks good on PC.
Yeah.
Early set-piece hunts are legitimately incredible. When the systems actually function the way they're supposed to, it feels like one of the most dynamic games Capcom has ever made. Still though, there are some missing features that do feel strangely absent, along with a lack of content in areas, a weak story, and just downright stupid microtransactions, but the sheer scale...
Okay, so we've always had stupid microtransactions since World. It's always been content devoid since Worlds, and updates make it better.
The base game never had the stuff that was the challenging modes.
Plus, content updates as they go. You want
Plus, from Sun to Sunbreak, where the Master Rank goes into play.
No, but even base game, Worlds had so little content.
Yeah.
The weather system, the biome transitions, the seamless monster behavior, the engaging combat, the beautiful art direction, and top-tier monster animations. There was a lot to praise here day one. Then we get to the technical side of this game. Performance, visuals, all of that fun stuff. And unfortunately, Monster Hunter Wilds has been infamously a total disaster on this
front. Paper mache monsters.
You had that.
This was right around launch back on the day from Polygon. This headline really summarizes how this game launched. My air fryer is more optimized than this Monster Hunter.
My air fryer
issues.
That model was air fried.
And polygonal character models, and
oh boy,
they're talking about.
I never got that. I wish I did.
Incident as there's
I think they finally fixed that after the first patch of the base game.
I don't even know how to describe it. It looks like
no, you decided on a weapon.
It really is astonishing.
It looks like Silent Hill 1.
This game was launched by Capcom, who clearly they knew that this was going to be
optimization is still kind of
you got that right.
Like what we saw with Mind's Eye,
or was it Shenko that got that?
I think Shenko got that one.
It's total bullshit when they put out these statements.
With the high def
bird. They also say in this article from Polygon, many of the graphical issues that were present during the
64 game.
Yes, this existed a lot longer before launch day, are still present.
So, having bugs in the beta that carry over into the main game, that's not a Capcom thing, but it is an industry AAA beta month out thing, and that's something that a lot of companies need to just stop doing.
That's just an
If
industry
you're gonna
thing now.
beta test
Yeah.
it, beta test it sooner.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, what's that Wildgate game where they did
That was so
doing
smooth.
beta runs and well, it run well, but their choices of not nerfing creature the
They actually
players,
buffed
the
the
characters,
guy.
they buffed the broken character. That's just, but at least they're doing something.
We had a match where the Wildgate guy with the 4 arms who could pound on the doors and break stuff, we got shut down by a Zerg Rush team, and they just broke every window, broke every door. As soon as we respawned, we were immediately suffocating with no oxygen, and they were shooting in, and they were throwing fire bombs at our door. We couldn't shut down the reactor blowing up. And we just couldn't do anything. And so what did they do in the next patch after that? They made him better.
But that's just an example of reacting to and actually adjusting something.
Yeah.
Present the final game, and players aren't happy about it. And
Not
might
in a
I
good way.
add, this was a couple of months before launch when the beta was going on. Capcom did release a statement saying that we are committed to ensuring the quality of the final product, and yeah, that never happened.
And then back to
and unfortunately, we're a couple of months
they released
removed
it
from
because
this,
they had
and,
to.
It's still pretty much the case with the game.
Otherwise,
But
it was
we
going
did
to start
see
losing
articles
money or
like
some
this
shit.
at the time coming from Eurogamer, Digital Foundry, the technical guys who really
$100.
test
We
out
can't
all
recommend
of
the
these games.
PC version.
Monster Hunter Wilds, we can't recommend the
Yeah.
PC version.
Yeah, give it a year.
Substantial technical problems must be addressed. And they wrote in their analysis that it makes for a confusing PC release with
But on the other
staggeringly poor
hand,
performance on lower
the PS4 was locked at 30
To
frames.
the
Yeah.
extent that we don't recommend the game at all on these systems.
And
they
good
went
luck
on to
getting a
mention that,
PS5
like
still.
any casual user, they use the game's default detected settings and set
Even on my
DLSS to
old
balance
computer,
mode.
Monster
At
Hunter
1440p on the
ran
RTX
fine
4060,
and
loading up the game presented
streamed
more issues
fine.
with PS3 level texture quality.
Yeah.
I don't actually honestly
Well, good for you,
argue
not for me.
It's worse than PS3 if we're being honest, but and many shots and many textures.
But it
that
runs
look like
fine
they had
now
loaded
too, doesn't
incorrectly.
it?
One character's white coat was
On
rendered
medium
multicolored by
settings-ish.
mosaic artifacts
Yeah.
due to poorly configured texture
That's good.
compression. After getting character control following the intro cutscenes,
I'm curious
each
if
turn
the,
of camera
Steam
was
Deck
greeted
settings
by
work any
noticeable
better.
Stutters, and I feel like that has almost
Don't
defined
worry,
this
I have a
generation
new
with
CPU
stuttering
ready for
problems.
you.
It's prevalent with Unreal games on PC and unoptimized monstrosities like this.
I need a new
Unfortunately.
motherboard.
They go into
Yeah, you
mention this
would.
last
Those are-
paragraph.
those-
that
those
I
are
go
cheap.
over, they say back on the RTX 4060 with medium textures
you usually
in
get
place,
a
despite
discount for
lacking
comboing.
the huge stutters we had before, the
Anyways.
results still are not great. The actual
Yeah, this is
texture
just more about
quality
the
is now reminiscent
technical
of
stuff.
games from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And the frame rate was still dippingly noticeably with a hit to frame
I'm just
health
curious as
when
what
standing in place and turning the camera.
his
When you turn the
history with
camera,
Monster
you
Hunter
gradually
is.
the sinusoidal rhythm we experienced previously becomes smoother.
I want
as
that
frame
Lance.
health improves.
This
This
probably
is
does
a very odd
poison.
performance characteristic in which is essentially an empty desert with tiled sand textures and not something we'd expect to see in any game, let alone a AAA release in the big year of our Lord 2025. And unfortunately, Capcom, Naughty
Oh, no,
Dog,
story
Rockstar,
spoilers.
and so on
Don't
and so
look.
forth, all these major
no.
publishers investing hundreds of millions of dollars in these games, but optimization always
While he's
tends to
rambling,
He
and I'm
is.
not sure Phil's
there,
mentioned it.
especially for PC
Yeah,
ports. It's just
so
a
you
prevalent
can probably
problem.
just cut this part
and
out
the
if you edit
AAA
it.
games
Nah,
industry
leave
doesn't
it all
really
in.
really care at all.
Leave it
about
all
us.
in,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
But
The
Digital
story-
Foundry also had a
The
video
story
on this,
was
and this
kind of
was
bad.
kind of a summary of
They're
the
always
game's
bad
issues.
though. The monsters are rampaging. Go and
Any
kill them.
Lower end GPU like the RTX 4060 will have this extreme performance dipping.
Yeah,
when
that
just
dipping
moving
is
the
just
camera around.
unacceptable.
As a result,
I think I actually
cannot
watched this
recommend
video that
playing this
he's
game on
referencing
GPUs at
now.
a similar compute level to this one, unless you're
So
finding
if
increased
he's-
With the frame time
gains in
stuff.
performance
If he's just
between
nobody
nitpicking
is.
about technical
I measured the same
issues,
issue
I
on
don't think that's
RTX
really going
2070
to.
Super. I measured the same.
No, it's not.
On an AMD
How long is this thing? 18 minutes?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're gonna have to cut a lot of shit.
Nah.
You're gonna have to cut some shit.
Nah.
Yeah, and honestly, this is just totally unacceptable. And
Well,
rightfully so. A lot of people are wanting
if
their
you
money
won't
back.
do.
They wanted answers. They wanted, Capcom to come forward saying they're at least going to fix this, because I mean that's the mentality of this AAA.
They're
games
also
industry.
looking at
They'll fix it
1440p.
eventually, but he did eventually.
If you
Yeah,
go, if you
which
go
is
down to
higher
one,
than most
oh,
people.
oh yeah,
1080.
1080 is typically the average. 1440 is the
1080 is the standard.
is what you want now, but it's not everyone has gone up to 1440 yet.
No, I'm not at
That's
1440.
just
Yeah,
not
I know.
happened here, is
I-
this
I-
VGC
This
article
Quest
says
headset
they
is more
responded
resolution
to
than my
performance
monitor.
issues on PC, the serious performance issues that are plaguing many players at launch, and unfortunately, they took a note out of Todd Howard's playbook and
So
this is all they
You gotta
said.
get those Todd rays.
Monster Hunter status. This is their friend
Yeah, just
support
technical
page. And they
issue.
said, if you're experiencing any initial issues with
Update
Wilds
your
on
graphics
Steam,
driver.
please try updating
No
your graphics
shit.
driver.
Yeah.
I hate when they do
People
that.
don't
Turning
do
off
that, though. You'd be
compatibility mode and
surprised.
Readjust your settings. Almost putting those issues
I mean, I
on
do
you,
it
the player,
whenever
for your
a big
rig,
game
which,
launches that I'm interested in playing.
Well,
really
'cause
takes
we
away
know
from,
what we're doing.
The poor optimization. They're not going.
This
They're
is
not
the
even taking any
plebs.
ownership of this. And as
I
from what I've been
guess.
able to gather, this
I
is the only
guess.
official statement in any capacity that
We're
they've said
old.
about these performance issues.
We
and the
weren't-
fact
I mean,
that they
yes, we
launched
are.
We
an
didn't grow up
unfinished,
on the iPad
unoptimized
generation where stuff
experience.
just works.
And the game has suffered.
We
for
actually
it.
have
You
to
can see
tinker
that
with
on
things.
Steam charts. I mean, look at this: 5,500
I
players
fixed
just
my
an
own
hour
Quest 2
ago.
controllers. I don't use the Quest 2
What is he
anymore.
talking about?
This
This
is
is
crazy for a game
fine.
that
Those
just launched a
numbers are
couple months ago.
great.
And for comparison's sake,
Yeah,
Monster
all-time
Hunter
peak
World,
is
which
at
did not
launch,
launch big
pause.
for what it's worth, it
Well, they have
launched
the
on
chart.
console. I think
24-hour
This is
peak.
what-
This.
Yeah, that's still healthy. That's still fine.
Yeah.
Most games.
Oh, that's
wish
World,
they
too.
had that.
Hold on. I can't really go back. I'm sure
That's
he'll.
World.
I'm sure he'll tab back
a
to
number
it.
of months before.
That
But when
was-
it did launch
that was
on, PC,
7,000 a
it
day
launched to an
ago,
all-time
with
peak
the
of
24-hour
380,000 players, and it took a couple
all-time
months
peak,
for it to
24-hour
slowly
peak.
come down.
I forget what the
Miles
Noto
had a
one is.
million peak.
Around August time,
24-hour
I believe,
peak?
and then
Yeah,
just
is
a
that
couple
in the
months
last
later, by
24
the end of the year,
hours?
It was still around 100,000.
That's average, yeah,
That is
the
a
last
healthy
24 hours
player base. A lot
average.
of people were engaged with the end game content.
Playing a
and
day
it
ago.
was a
That-
powerful
playing a
experience.
day
Even
ago
to this
and-
day, just
and the
massive
24-hour
and
peak,
positive
though.
experience all
That doesn't
around.
seem like it
Very
would be like the
positive
same
reviews.
stat.
Probably
Oh,
one
yeah,
of the
now
best
he's
Monster
showing
Hunter
World.
games to date. And then you look
So
at
even
Wild.
World-
Okay,
So
so
the
here's
music is
Wilds.
Wilds.
Okay, so look, 24-hour peak, 16,000. Is that like?
Okay, so that's half of Worlds, but Worlds is a more complete game.
Yeah, it's a lot more content. It's like 5 times as much more content.
And probably you got speedrunners and competitives
Mm-hmm.
doing more world stuff because there's more to do and the harder stuff that you can do. This is a higher peak
Yeah.
as well, though, by like four times almost.
Yeah, and that's because it was such a huge launch. This is fine. Just let it settle. Worlds was just as bad.
Not to mention after this, we have the new Elden Ring game came out.
Oh yeah, people are gonna be
Even
playing
though it's
that.
even though it got middling reviews, people are still playing
Yep.
it. And then what was the last big release other than that?
Well, there was Power World, that I was going to bring up. Remember when Power World came out, and then after about a month or so, people were like,
was that before or after this?
No, it was before this, but the number dropped off dramatically. Like 90%, 95% of players dropped off, and the reviewers were like, "Look, they lost 95% of the reviewers." And then the Power World devs came out and said, "Yeah, people finished the game. They want to play other games." No shit.
Right.
So people have played their content. It came out like March,
Yeah.
right? It's been a half
And
a
you gotta think
year.
Also, this 24 hours, that's people that's just playing the new patch
Mhm.
and then going back to whatever new thing they've got.
Playing it. Oh, that's an hour ago in 24. Yeah, 24-hour peak. That's still a lot. 16,000?
That's still that's half of World.
Yeah, that's good. People are so crazy. Oh, it has to be a live server. It has to be perfect
Really
all the
crazy,
time.
The fact that this game had such a positive impressions from
And here's where we
reviewers,
see the
mostly-
numbers right
most of
here.
them
Yeah.
obviously play it on console.
Because
But yeah,
people
1.2
beat it.
million
They have
players
other
at
things to
launch,
do.
almost
They're
all
not
of
gonna
them are just
grind when they've
completely
already
done with this
beaten
game.
it.
They disappeared. Within a month, it had halved, and then
Especially since
now
gear
here we are.
optimization's
It's
easier
slowly-
now.
well, it didn't slowly.
And these
It
bumps,
fell
these are
off a
content
cliff
updates,
here
right?
From 100,000.
It did not-
and then
that's- I
down
wouldn't
to
call that a cliff.
20,000. And there's no.
Didn't fall off
I mean,
a
there's
cliff.
some new
No.
content coming, but obviously on
That
PC,
cliff
many
would be
players have just checked
conquered.
out, and there's no reason to continue playing with this game
No, that
until
cliff didn't
Capcom
exist.
comes forward with any indication that they're actually going to fix this game. And right now, there isn't that indication.
Oh
But then
man.
we get to this. So this
Marathon.
is the main piece of
Yeah,
this,
the end game's not going to come until
video.
next year
It's
when
just
they
the fact
release.
that, Wilds
Oh,
has
the end
collapsed.
game
They
might
have
not even
1%
come
of
out for
Force players,
2 years.
Extreme
82%
Wilds.
negative reviews, and I think that really says a lot about how Capcom
Collapses
just
with
doesn't care about their
1%.
player base, unfortunately. And it's not like this is just reserved to the performance and the visual issues that I talked about a second ago that have plagued this
People
experience.
devoured Monster
This
Hunter.
game is missing
People
some
are
features
done
and
with
content
Monster
that many
Hunter
people,
until new
thought should have
content
been
comes
there.
out.
This is brought up
And
in
then
this
new
Forbes
content
article
comes out,
that
and then they
says
come
that,
back.
Speaking from my personal experience,
That's what
as
these
Paul
bumps
Patch,
are.
as someone who
Alright.
sunk maybe 10 total hours into
10
playing Monster
to
Hunter games, I
10.
found myself reaching
Yeah.
down, grinding the best gear.
Someone who
and
sunk
running
maybe
out of
10
stuff to do
hours.
relatively quickly
Boo-hoo.
into what was supposed to be
That's-
the end game.
that's-
10 is
Despite some new
fucking
monsters and new
casual.
Yeah, that's
difficulty
not even
increases,
tutorial.
It's just not enough, and so fans are headed back to Monster Hunter
That's
World.
the
and you can see
story.
that
Yeah,
with
no, it's
those
not even the
numbers in
story.
which,
They
yeah, it
didn't
has
even finish the story.
26,000, players,
The-
just the peak
the
there
story on these
versus
games
Monster
drags.
Hunter Wilds, which is standing at
I think it
around
was at
16,
20 hours when I
17,000,
finally
and
finished the
declining
tutorial.
more and more. And yeah, this is just another example that there's many different threads or articles talking
past
about
Monster
it. But
Hunter
Wilds is
games, no
missing
canteen,
various
that's been
content,
fixed.
and its end game for many
less
people's
optional
eyes
quests,
has been
that's
weak
been
so
fixed.
far. And that
It's
is
in
definitely a
rotation.
contributor to
No
why
room to
this game is
customize
struggling,
endemic.
but definitely doesn't
Okay,
seem
that's
to
not
be
in
the
yet, but
core
we're gonna get
issue
that
here.
probably
It
in the
is
next
worth
patch.
mentioning
Yeah,
there has been
patches or
some
we don't
something.
we don't have
strong
personal
indication
space
that a
yet.
new title
Also-
update is coming with
Also,
new
why?
content,
I barely use
but
the
unfortunately,
Yeah, me
there's
neither.
no indication that they're solving any
Title
of the
update
Any
2.
other
Woo!
layered
performance and
weapons.
visual issues that have struck this game
Okay,
since
so
it
this
launched back in
is-
February.
I actually don't like
haven't used
the
it, I
idea
don't
of
think.
layered weapons because then you don't know what the other person's using.
Yes, but the problem, and this is a problem in Wilds, is best in slot is usually the arcane weapons. And not everybody likes the look of the arcane weapons.
Yeah, and we're getting arch-tempered Ooth, and the reason why it takes so long to come out with these arch-tempered monsters...
Also, Leggy.
Yeah, Leggy's
Don't
coming
forget
back. They have to update the existing monsters with new moves, new animations, and that's why it takes a long time.
People
Also,
are
Dosh
absolutely
Guma
pissed about
mask
this,
and
it's
a
brought
free
up in this
gesture
Forbes
set.
article.
Okay,
It
whatever.
says that the first, and this is the big issue everybody's talking about, is the fact that PC performance
don't
is
want
horrible.
the video to
many
go on for
seemingly
too
getting
long.
worse over time with Capcom's fixes
Now,
failing or
getting
not coming
worse over
fast
time.
enough,
That is
even
not
months
true.
after
I
release.
have
In my
noticed an
eyes,
improvement
that is
since the Akuma
absolutely
patch.
unacceptable. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
we
it's
live
much
in
better.
a
And Akuma's
mentality now
fucking
with this
crazy.
industry in which just, we
I
just
think
accept
I also
that
think
these
that
games
Akuma is a
continue to look
test for
broken.
the
And it's like, okay,
fist
we're just gonna be
weapons.
the beta testers, but that mentality.
You
is
think they're
getting
gonna
just
bring?
more and more
Yeah, you think we're
releases
gonna
like
get our
this.
15th weapon?
And you can
No.
almost sense that these AAA executives just
I
do
doubt
not
it.
respect
Or is it
their
just a
communication
toy?
It'd be
with
hype as
players.
hell.
And
It'd be
this is
hype
the
as hell
only
if
way
they
to protest.
did,
It's by going on
but
Steam
I
and
don't think
review
so.
bombing this game because yes, it does impact
It would
sales.
become in the
and
master
it does make many
version
players
of
just feel like,
Wilds.
okay, or potential
If
players
it did, it'd
say,
be like
I'm
a
not gonna bother
surprise,
with
like,
that
yeah,
anytime
here's a new
soon.
weapon.
And that is on the developer, the publisher, Capcom, to change that. And so far, again,
Although I still
we're
wish the
waiting
magnet
to
spike
hear
would have
something
come
from
around.
them.
Yeah.
And then here we have the Steam page, and oh my god,
Oh,
overwhelmingly
no.
negative. 17% of the 10,000
That's
reviews
net-
Would you
reviews
call
in
this
the
an
last
actual
30
review
days are
bomb?
positive.
Yeah,
Nitpicking.
that's a
Overall
review
score
bomb for nitpicking.
mixed.
Also,
Again,
that's
compare that
recent.
to Monster Hunter World again.
There's why are you
89%
comparing
World is
recents to all
complete.
time?
And,
He's
yeah,
also
very
comparing
positive
recents to all
versus this
time.
game, which is mixed, and all of it is because of how.
And this is
bad of a
60%.
sport that
That's
this is.
fine.
And
Yeah.
this is something that will plague this game until
59%,
Capcom
it dips
decides to
down
fix
into
it.
mix.
Even
That's
then,
fine.
means
this
it's
stuff will probably
lacking.
still stay there. And
Well,
these
it needs
user
it-
reviews are absolutely
God.
fucking
Oh, here we go.
brutal.
250
As
hours, the
of,
game will no
yeah,
longer boot
May
up.
28th,
Okay,
after
they
250
acknowledge the
hours
fix for
of
this. You had to
gameplay,
delete
the
your
game will
shader
no
cache.
longer boot up.
And then
That's
they
just
don't-
crazy. I tried
Expensive
reinstalling,
rig,
deleting
no.
shader caches, uninnstalling reframework, which
My
makes
computer
me
cost me
run
less
the
than
game smoothly
1,000.
at all.
No.
Rolling back my NVIDIA driver,
Unfinished mess.
Uh-huh.
That's how they always launch.
There's no
This is
option at that
AAA
point.
issues.
You cannot refund the game.
First
You just
world
have a
issues.
broken experience until Capcom does anything.
Imagine-
Every
and
player
Imagine-
patch
this
is
is
not
just what
making it
players are
worse.
dealing
It's
with.
making it
Another
better.
individual 77 hours.
This person's
Exactly.
just
Had an
stupid.
expensive rig to play this game smoothly.
But here's the
and even then, there seems
unfinished.
to be many of those who have
Before
those rigs that are still
World,
encountering
you
many
had to
issues,
buy a
so
whole
that's
new
not a given.
game.
Even some of these positive reviews,
to get the
180
update.
hours, good claim
They weren't
but
DLCs,
Generations
they-
optimized
The Generations
on PC,
Ultimate.
Yeah,
not a
they're-
good
And we
game,
didn't even
no
get
Elder
Generations
Dragons,
Ultimate
and,
until
there's some of the
like
core
2 years
complaints,
later on the
some of the
Switch.
other
Yeah.
issues that people are talking about.
When
Capcom
Japan
released
got
another
Gen
unfinished mess
Ultimate
of a
on
game
the
this
3DS.
time.
They also
And
had.
MSRP,
They also were
obviously
using their
withheld
old
finished
engine
content
that they
ahead of
had
the release schedule.
literally over a
340
decade
hours.
of
On
perfecting.
record, not recommended. Another
This is a
one,
new
Also,
engine
you bring-
and a new platform.
Yeah,
Fantastic game ruined by
but they
poor
need to bring bring
performance.
back
It is
Palico,
playable for me only
Yeah.
because of a powerful machine. However, I suggest
Hey,
you stay clear
I
until they
tried
fix
doing the
performance.
Palico a
Every
little
patch
bit,
is making the game performance
and it
worse,
just didn't
and
do
it
that
is
much
shocking
damage.
that it has got that
And the
bad.
moveset
And
was
this is why
not
this
great.
has to be talked about because Capcom
played the Berserker
clearly
Cat.
knew that this game was not going to be released in a finished state on PC, and they just did it anyway. And unfortunately,
Duh!
they
World
did
did the
since
same
has been
thing.
lackluster. and their communication.
Why,
has been pretty
why are
good.
you
We'll just
saying,
call it
oh,
what it
look
is.
how
It's been
good
dog
World
shit.
is when
Monster
Worlds
Hunter
was in the
Wilds,
same
way too
state
short,
at the
too
same
easy, too
period of
streamlined, too
time?
expensive.
Do you
Runs
not?
This is like
trash,
comparing
35 hours.
Battlefront
Oh
games.
god! In
The
general,
new
not a
Battlefront
game
comes
bad
out.
game compared
Everybody
to other
plays
releases in
it.
the series as well
It
as other
has
similar games. It's lacking
4 maps or
This is
whatever
another
they've
person
come out with for
300
multiplayer.
hours.
Or
Save your
2.
money. This
And-
game needs to cook for an additional 1 to
and
2 years and
They
get
beat
an
the campaign.
expansion.
They play the
If you really wanna
multiplayer for a
try
little bit.
Monster Hunter,
Then they go back to the
Monster
previous
Hunter
entry,
World.
which has like
100
20
hours.
maps,
Uh-huh.
5 DLCs that they
80
paid
hours
for.
almost since
Is
the
a
recent updates.
complete
The game is
product.
a stuttery mess. I have a pretty
And then
decent setup
compare
prior
the
to
apples
this.
to
It
oranges.
was running smoothly, but my god, WTF. That is the current state of Monster Hunter Wilds on
Wait, when
PC.
was this?
These are the Steam reviews.
That says
Overwhelmingly
June. This says
negative.
June.
Only
These are recent
7%
reviews.
are
So the-
positive.
These
and
are
that
all
is
June.
just astonishing.
Yeah, so somebody
this
needs
is
to
some of
fix
the comments
their,
again. This has not just been
They did
drivers
delete their
and
published.
shaders,
We're
yeah.
seeing many people
Yeah,
on
delete
the
the shaders
subreddit
and update your
complaining about it
drivers.
as well. Monster Hunter Wilds is a great
Review
game, but
bombing
review
is
bombing
justified. Yeah, right.
I have almost 300 hours into the game. I've basically done all there is to do.
Okay, so
And
we
it's a
may
great
be
experience, but
shills
the optimization
for
has
Monster
been
Hunter at
consistently
being
horrible
first
for
leaders,
months now.
but we're
I even upgraded
also
my PC parts to
have-
I have a
full
Ryzen
specifications from that,
7,
and it
which is the
still
best my
runs like shit.
motherboard can
LOL for
take.
$70.
We also
And
have
it
a
runs
memory, and
good
we
enough
That's another
now.
big
we
thing that's
remember
not being
what
talked
happened
about.
with
We're
World.
seeing all these games, AAA games,
Yeah.
And
you know, they went from
people
60 to
comparing
70, and then now 70 days,
World
now
as
it'll
it
be the
is
next
now
time. We're already
to
seeing a
Wilds
couple
as it is
experiences.
now
But we're
is
seeing
not
that
comparable.
on the optimization front. All we're getting is just more expensive
And some
games
people
and
came in
nothing
with
at all improved, and I just find that
Rise
even more
Sunbreak.
unacceptable. You can have an incredible game, but especially for an action
And
game
for
that
some people,
requires
this is their
precise
first.
movement,
Spider
So
Spider.
many.
performance is more important
I
than
haven't
ever,
seen any
and
more
it's
Spider Spiders
incredibly
videos on this,
frustrating.
but
I really do hope they listen to the feedback and
Wilds
finally
was his very
prioritize
first.
optimization. No
And
indication of that yet.
his
There's a lot of
video,
effort to put in
he
this
didn't
game.
have
It's like a
any
movie
graphical
having great
hitches
actors, great
whatsoever.
music,
Uh-huh.
great attention to detail, and the script is horrible.
And he
And
just
other
having
users
fun
just
with
saying
it,
this
although he
is-
was
yeah,
annoyed
this
like
is
anybody else. Is
absolutely
like,
sad that
can I
this
hunt
is
the monsters
happening.
now?
But look,
Okay,
this is just the
so-
AAA games industry. We have been
It
It looks
Yeah.
it looks like
I will
100%
say
of this
most of the time
video
with
is
these,
going to
you
be
know,
about the
disaster
technical
launches,
issues.
It's also
Oops.
just what players
No.
are dealing
Uh-oh.
with.
Okay,
The
so I
ones
was
that
about there.
go through eventually.
So, what is this? Getting flooded with
I mean, we're
so that was a
almost 4
different
minutes
reason.
left.
Yeah, there's not. There's not enough video left to really make a difference. I'm gonna leave this plan. I'm gonna turn the
Getting
volume
to
down a little bit.
And it was not
Um, so it seems like this video is just about the technical issues.
Just the technicals,
And-
which
and
aren't
very-
getting worse. They are getting better.
So I don't know what his
As somebody who
perspective is.
suffered on ultra low settings. Yeah.
I don't
So
remember.
I played on ultra low settings on Wilds when it first launched just to get a good frame rate. Now I can play on medium to medium high.
With the new updates.
issues that I was running into, and it wasn't even just
So yeah, he hasn't so far talked about the lack of content so far, which is also comparing apples to oranges
Well,
with
he-
Worlds to now.
We saw the reviews, but he didn't bring them up.
Yeah, I know. He did. Yeah, he didn't bring them up.
example is the
Last of Us. Oh, yeah. No one likes Last of Us anymore. Okay, so do you want to
There
have?
isn't any Monster Hunter anymore. You just pause it.
Yeah, I'm
We're
just-
done.
I'm-
I think we've.
I've already got the audio. I want to just let it play in the background. Do you want to have any final thoughts for this?
Yeah, it's wrong.
Look at the camera over there.
I've literally knocked over a glass again.
Good.
I literally have better performance now with the last patch or two, even though we don't play all the time.
Uh-huh.
But I've noticed a difference that it's better, and all I had to do was delete my shader cache. That's it.
I thought this was going to be a bit more deep as well.
Same.
He only went focused on one subject.
Yeah, it's not the content.
Uh-huh.
It's not
Come
me moving around.
forward.
It's not.
You're wiggling around. Come on.
But yeah, so content was honestly the biggest issue I heard about from other videos, and it's just not. It's not just the technicals, but like it's just the process of Monster Hunter.
Well, there's our comments.
Yep.
Yeah. Is this a
And now he's
channel?
talking about Last of Us.
Is this a video? Is this going up? The camera's
I
over
mean, we
here.
can probably cut it.
No, this is all going in.
Yeah. This is all going
This
in.
is all going
You're a
in.
dork.
Yeah, I know. So what do you think?
I don't know. I expected more of this than just bad frame rate when they gave solutions.
Is this getting the video podcast thing off your chest a little bit? Get some of that.
Well,
That juice is
reactions,
flowing.
not the podcast.
Well, it's close enough. It's
But
basically
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's the same name.
I just figured Monster has a good starting point since me and you know Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it just arose under a different name. Boop. All right. Well,
No, the
good
other
night,
video
y'all.
had- Yep. Yep.
Let's just yep. Bye. Subscribe. Like.
Subscribe, like, all that stuff. Yeah, whatever.
Push the bell.
Dork.
Follow.
Nah, I wouldn't go as far as saying the bell.
Oh my God.
We don't know if this is going to... What?
Okay. Bye bye.